Hey, what's going on, guys? So I'm going to be showing you how to make a resampled Reese bass, and this is the final product. So it sounds really washy and like wet, kind of, and that is a product of the resampling itself and some of the modulation and effects I put on it. And I'm going to go through how to get that sound, but first I'm going to start with the bass sound. So the sound that we're going to be using to create the kind of bass for that sound is this Reese bass that I made in Harmor. So basically this is just a default Harmor preset, or Harmor initial setting, and then I pitched it down to the bass level 4 octaves, and then I added some prism and I detuned the bass. I put 2 voices, so basically 2 saw waves that are detuned, and I detuned it to taste, played with the pitch and just a little bit of panning, and that sounds like this without any distortion and reverb. It sounds like this. So it kind of sounds weird, but once you add the distortion, it actually brings out the differences in pitch and makes it sound really cool. So this is what it sounds like with distortion, but it's still pretty harsh. So after that, we threw on a wave shaper just to distort it even more, and kind of bring up all the levels, so we had more to work with essentially. And then we threw on a parametric EQ with a bandpass and a notch, and we're modulating the bandpass and the notch right here. This isn't really anything specific, it's kind of just whatever sounded good to me at the time. And then we also threw on a Maximus just to bring everything back up, because a lot of the high end gets cut out with the bandpass and a lot of the low end. So using the compressor brings everything back up to the roughly the same level. And this is basically one instance of, I guess you could call it filtering and distortion, compression. And then I do another instance of that right here, and then some effects in between and some EQing. But this is what it sounds like with just this first instance of distorting, EQing, and compressing. So this is what it sounds like. So it sounds pretty cool. And then I added some flanger just to widen it again. I wanted a really wide sound, and it also kind of makes it a little more washy. It's pretty subtle. So then I did another instance of the distorting, EQing, and compressing, this time with different modulation, and I also added another notch filter into the EQ, so this time there's 2 notch filters and 1 bandpass filter. And then again another instance of compression with slightly different settings, but again it's just to bring everything back up to the same level. So this is what that sounds like. And there's also some EQ there, but that's what it sounds like. So it's starting to sound a little more wet and kind of washed out, which is what I was going for. So then I threw that in an Edison, and I believe that's just the same thing. So that is just this right here. This audio clip is just this, all of this modulation. And then I threw it in a Harmor again, but this time I took this file and just dropped it into the image resampler, and I added again 2 voices, this time a lot, way less pitch on the unison, a little bit of pan, and then I messed with the harmonic unison again just to taste, and added a little bit of prism. But that's pretty much it for the resampling. Resampling in Harmor itself kind of adds a few interesting artifacts. It makes it a lot more washy, wet, and kind of just it adds interesting artifacts. So this is what that sounds like. And then I I believe I put some effects on that. I put some effects on actually this first one here. I think I just EQ'd a little bit, and then I threw on another compressor and some flanger again, and another instance of just EQing stuff, trying to get out like the muddy sound out. And then we took that, put it into an Edison, and recorded it and put it back in here. So this is the resampled bass. This here is that. So I'll play through this. So I've actually reversed it, so this is now the same as before. So yeah, that's pretty much the sound. I just added a little bit of reverb. I could probably EQ this again, but that's pretty much the sound. A cool thing you can do once you have a resampled Reese bass is just reverse it, and you can get some really cool, unexpected, cool little like stabs of bass. So, I mean, for instance, we can just play through this and find something interesting. Like that one's pretty interesting. Like you can just like chop this up, like just use the slicer, chop it up, throw them into your songs, save them for later. Like you can use what I do often is I'll make a bunch of these and I'll just have them in my drag samples folder, and then I'll just bring them out into songs and see if they fit, kind of use them as stabs and stuff like that. But they're really fun, really good, and you can get pretty creative with the sounds that you make. But yeah, that's pretty much the sound. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, just leave a like, a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.